you doing, Dan?
How's it going?
Good. So I just wanted to ask before we get into last weekend about, your surprise scholarship announcement at Blue and White. What do you remember from that, and what was that moment like for you, just getting mobbed by all your teammates after hauling in that big touchdown?
Yeah, that moment is something I'll remember for the rest of my life, and it was just, words can't describe it. It was just such a special moment. And honestly, I was just happy to score a touchdown in the game, and then when I heard Coach Franklin come onto the microphone and say that I'd been awarded a scholarship, it just overwhelming feeling of gratitude and thankfulness, and it's just such a blessing in my life, and something that, I don't know, it's something I never imagined, and just super appreciative of it, and especially to have the support of all my teammates. It was, as you said, and then running off the sidelines to embrace me, it was just a really special moment, and I can't even put it into words, but it's something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
And now going through this season, in what specific ways do you try to be a great teammate for everybody else, whether it's on special teams or offense or whatever?
Honestly, I'd say I'm a pretty quiet guy. I'm pretty reserved, but so I'm not much of a vocal person. But I try to just come in every day and work as hard as I can, and almost prove that that scholarship wasn't a mistake, and wasn't a mistake, and that I can when I'm in the building, that I'm taking it seriously, and I'm not taking it for granted, and especially being away from it for a few years. I don't want to take any day for granted, and so just coming in and being appreciative of every opportunity, and giving my best and giving everything I got while I'm here, because it won't last long.
Dan, how long were you away from football, and was there a time when you thought your football career was over? And to follow up on that, obviously, what were the mechanisms that got you back involved?
So I left the team during the spring semester of 2016, so right after my freshman season, and then I came back to the team not this past summer, but the previous summer, so it was summer of 2018. So I was away for a couple of years, and sorry, I was excited.
Did you think your football career was
Oh,
over?
yeah. Yeah, I thought. When I told Coach Franklin that I was going to pursue track full time and accept a scholarship for track, I was walking out that door. I was certain that I would never play football for Penn State again. And something I've mentioned to people before who have asked me, I always missed football, and so part of my original plan when I thought I was going to look is I would run track until I was done here at Penn State, graduate, and then transfer somewhere for a fifth year where like a smaller school where I could hopefully play right away, and just have that last moment of playing football at the sport itself again. And then so when I tore my hamstring, that's when I really sat down and thought about what I wanted the next 18 months to look like, and I just love this place and love Penn State, and all I wanted to do growing up, all I ever wanted to do was to come to Penn State and play here, and I just prayed about it a lot, and thought that if that opportunity would be possible again, I'd love to see if that could happen, and I set up a meeting with Coach, and he received me extremely well. It was something that I wasn't expecting, especially after leaving, and he received me really well, and I explained to him where I was at and my desire to play again, and he was all for it, and checked with a few of the other coaches, and Coach Ronnie and Coach Corley, who was the receivers coach at the time, and they also received me extremely well. And so just to be given that opportunity again is something that I'm extremely thankful for, and don't want to take for granted, because I very well could have walked in there and could say, you left, but that's kind of it. Like you can't just walk back in here whenever you want. And, so for him to receive me so graciously and give me that opportunity again was really, really special, and I'm very thankful for that.
Out of shape person reporting for duty, what's the difference between running track and running for football? Is there anything mechanically that's different? Is there anything about how you go about your body that's different?
The biggest thing is just, in track, in practice or in race or whatever, for example, in practice, you could do a 20-meter sprint and you just kind of coast out for the next 50 meters. Like putting on the brakes is not a thing in track, and they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to ever intentionally slow down. And obviously football, especially as a receiver, like you go from running full speed to stopping yourself and cutting out of a break and stopping. I'd say that's the biggest difference, is just the change in direction and not just running in a straight line. Was something that it was a challenge to adapt back to, but it's something that I've worked hard on.
Is special teams kind of a nice intersection between those two things? Because there are very few moments where you're going to run 100 yards or 60 yards or stuff like that.
Yeah, obviously special teams, specifically on like punt coverage, which is where I've kind of found a role there, and it is that opportunity where you can just, in a sense, run straight and run fast, as fast as you can. And you want to try to, the goal is to try to beat the ball down there, which doesn't always happen as far as Blake's kicking it, but it is a good opportunity where you can just open up and fall back on those track experiences where it kind of crosses over, as you said.
Dan, you showed some emotion when you tackled speaking of punt coverage, when you tackled Don Jones on Saturday night. How much pride have you guys taken this year from a punt coverage standpoint of kind of limiting those big plays in special teams?
Yeah, that's just, Coach Lord's motto is just to change the game, and there's no small role on special teams. Special teams is a huge part of every game, and it's a huge part of our team. And there's guys that make plays every week, and guys take pride in being on those units and wanting to make an impact, even though it might go overlooked in small moments. But even on an extra point, it seems like an automatic thing. Like those guys are, battling every play to make sure that they protect and get that extra point. And it makes a difference, and it gets overlooked sometimes. But like I said, I think a lot of guys on those units, they take a lot of pride, and a lot of guys have found their roles on those units who don't get the offensive and defensive reps that they necessarily hope for. And it's great to have guys who take a lot of pride in that and want to be part of that.
Hey Dan, we had Sean this morning, and he's telling us he's trying to figure out his identity, I guess, as a quarterback and also as a leader in his locker room. Just from the outside looking in, he seems to be more demonstrative before games, during games, speaking to people on the field. Is that something that you've noticed through 7 games, that he's just become more comfortable speaking up in front of everyone, in front of a big audience and all that?
Yeah, I think he's definitely gotten more comfortable. Honestly, I think he kind of hit the ground running. Once he got that starting to roll, he was, it wasn't much of a learning curve for him. It's always kind of come natural to him. And I think, as you said, the more you do something, the more comfortable you come with it. And as the season's gone on, he's just grown into that role even more so, and just been a really great leader for in the locker room and on the field. And I can't say enough about how hard he works, and it shows. And he's just he works hard to be that leader role. But I think a lot of it just comes from who he is as a person.
And then I think the nation got a good chance to realize how close of friends him and KJ are on Saturday night after that game. Is that something that's been obvious since really the time you've gotten to know them, where they just have a connection and that translates into game action?
Yeah, I think just the whole dynamic in the locker room in general is friendships like that, and everyone is pretty supportive of everyone. Everyone's pretty good friends with everyone, and there's no cliques or anything. Everyone has each other's backs, and obviously when guys like quarterbacks and wide receivers, when you work together all spring and all winter, all spring, all summer, you build those relationships, and you're working with them so much that you become close with those guys. And obviously, Cliff and KJ are two of the most dynamic players on our team, and they make huge plays. And it's just obviously you're able to see how close they are, and I think that's just representative of our team as a whole as well, of how close we are and how supportive everyone is of each other.
Last one for me, if that's okay with you. Is that all right? This wide receiver group, in the stat sheet, there's a pretty steep drop-off after Jahan and KJ. How is, week by week, everybody handling that? And then could you give us a sneak peek into when they do have their breakout, what are we going to see from Daniel George, Justin Shorter? Because that's a particular position that thus far has not necessarily been utilized as much as I think people were anticipating.
Sure. I mean, I can tell you wholeheartedly, in our room, there's no sense of like entitlement or disappointment of that there is that like drop off after KJ and Jahan. I mean, like when those guys score, like every other receiver, everyone on the team, but like, specifically for your question, like, every other receiver is so happy for them. And like I can speak to myself specifically. Like, I'm the Z behind Jahan, and every time he scores, every time he makes a play, like, I like am so happy for him because I know how hard he works, and like I just think it's like our room as a whole. And it's not even something that's been forced, but it's just like the type of people that we have in our room where we're just like so happy for each other when other guys make a play, and just like wanting to like putting the team before self. And it has honestly it hasn't been an issue at all. And like it's fun like to like make fun of the guys like when we're watching film, we like joke around with guys in film, and when they make those plays and like you see something like funny on film, it's just like a really great like environment to be in. So I'd say that hasn't even been a concern for any guy in the room. In terms of Justin and Daniel, like they just work so hard, and they consistently make plays every practice that hasn't necessarily like you guys haven't necessarily been able to see like in a game, but I have no doubt that those plays are coming, and like when it does, like I don't know when it's going to happen, but like it will happen at some point just because of the work that they put in, like behind the scenes, and when no one's looking, that will come to light in a game, and I think it's going to be special when they do, and they're going to be great players for years to come. I have no doubt in my mind.
Thank you.
Dan, back to the punt coverage. Just how much fun is it to be able to run top speed, 60 yards down the field, and the guy you're trying to tackle is literally just waiting, and all you have, like I said, that big 60-yard head start, and as soon as he catches it, you have pretty much the opportunity to not end him, but make a big play. Like on Saturday, you got really fired up. Just how much fun are you having when you're sprinting down that field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's fun, and I think the first taste of that I had was during the Pitt game when I got a flag for hitting the guy too soon, and so people were saying like, oh, like nice hit, and I was telling them like, yeah, it's pretty easy when you're running full speed and the guy's standing pretty still or standing still, but it's I don't know, it's just like a great opportunity to try and do your part on the team, and I don't know, it's just a role that I've tried to embrace and take a lot of pride in. And I think even Harlow, Drew, the other bullet, he is extremely fast himself, and we just like compete with each other to try and see who can get down there first. And we're always just like communicating on the sidelines and talking to each other about like the plays and what happened, and if we need to like change anything. I don't know, but it's just, I don't know if this answers your question, but it is fun, and it's just like, again, an opportunity that I don't want to take for granted because I don't have a lot of time left here to play for Penn State, and I just want to always be appreciative for every moment, whether it's making a tackle or just being able to be on the field and run down and have a role.
Is there something you can compare to something you did in track? That's something like that. Obviously, you don't tackle anyone in track, but something where they just go, and it's kind of the same thing when you do a track, what you do when you're on punt coverage.
I mean, I think every race in track, you're just kind of like all right, just go, just go for it and just do it, and especially with sprints, which is what I did. There's 400s there's a little bit of tactics involved, and but for a lot of especially like 60 and 100, like you're just going, and I don't know, I'd say those are like the most comparable things to that.